Listen, every man wants to feel chosen, desired, and valued by the woman he cares about, but most guys chase love the wrong way. They try too hard, they beg for attention, they lose themselves, and then wonder why she pulls away. If you want a woman to want you deeply, genuinely, and naturally, you first have to understand how female psychology actually works. Women don't fall for looks, they don't fall for money. They fall for the one man who knows how to touch their mind and their emotions. And today, I'm going to reveal the psychological triggers that make a woman think about you, crave your presence, and see you as the man she doesn't want to lose. Not through manipulation, not through games, but through authentic male energy, self-respect, and emotional intelligence. So get ready, because once you understand these secrets, you'll never chase love again. Love will start chasing you. Most men misunderstand what truly attracts a woman because they focus on the wrong things. They think attraction is about having perfect looks, a perfect body, or the perfect amount of money. But female psychology runs much deeper than surface level factors. Women respond emotionally before they respond logically. If a woman feels emotionally safe, understood, and comfortable in your presence, her attraction for you can grow at a level she herself may not fully understand. Emotional safety doesn't mean you behave like a nice guy who agrees with everything she says. It means she feels she can express herself without being judged or dismissed. And that is something extremely rare for women to find. Most men try to impress a woman, but very few try to understand her. And the moment you become the man who actually listens, who pays attention to her words, who notices what she feels even when she doesn't say it directly, you instantly stand out from every other guy in her life. This is the psychological space where attraction begins to form. Confidence is equally powerful, but not the fake, allowed confidence many men perform. Women sense real confidence through energy, posture, decisions, and emotional stability. When your mood doesn't change based on her approval or disapproval, she sees you as grounded. When you aren't desperate for validation and can handle silence, tension, or disagreement with calmness, she sees emotional strength. A woman wants a man who is secure within himself, because a secure man makes her feel secure too. If you seek constant reassurance, if you get anxious when she takes long to reply, if her small comments break your confidence, she subconsciously feels that she has to be the emotional adult in the dynamic. And women don't want to mother a man. They want to respect him. Real confidence is not about dominating a woman. It's about being centered in who you are, clear in what you stand for, and emotionally balanced no matter what happens around you. Understanding is another psychological trigger that pulls a woman closer. Women communicate emotionally, not just verbally. When she tells a story, she often isn't seeking a solution. She wants connection, empathy, and emotional presence. When you listen without interrupting, without trying to fix everything, without getting defensive, you become someone she feels comfortable around. Comfort builds trust, and trust builds attraction. This is why so many women fall for men who make them feel seen. A man who listens with patience, responds with emotional intelligence, and shows genuine curiosity about her inner world builds a bond much stronger than any superficial qualities could ever create. But emotional safety also means you have boundaries. Women do not feel attracted to a man who can be walked over. They respect a man who respects himself. If you're afraid to say no, afraid to disagree, or afraid to lose her, you lose the emotional frame that creates attraction. A woman feels safe with a man who knows what he wants and isn't scared of losing her for the sake of his self-respect. When you calmly express what you like, what you dislike, what your standards are, you create a masculine presence that makes her want to rise to meet you. Boundaries are not about controlling her. Boundaries are about protecting your energy. And when a woman sees that you protect your energy, she instinctively wants to be part of your world. Women are also attracted to a man who maintains emotional control, not suppression, but regulation. If you get triggered easily, if you explode with anger or shut down emotionally, she won't feel safe. Women connect deeply to men who can handle their own emotions without blaming, reacting, or running away. This maturity signals that you are capable of partnership, leadership, and stability, all of which create long-term attraction. What most men don't realize is that attraction for women is a slow burn, not a spark. It grows when she sees your consistency, your calm energy, your authenticity, and your emotional depth. Attraction grows when she feels respected, understood, and emotionally protected. It grows when you don't try to change her feelings, but hold space for them. And when you combine emotional safety with confidence and understanding, you create a powerful psychological pull that makes a woman feel drawn to you in a way she can't easily explain, but deeply feels. When a man builds his entire world around a woman, he unknowingly kills the very attraction he hopes to create. Women don't desire a man who gives up his identity, his goals, or his individuality just to win her approval. Female psychology is deeply wired to respond to a man who has direction, purpose, and a life that inspires respect. When a woman sees that your focus, your discipline, and your drive are bigger than just trying to impress her, she feels a natural pull toward you. This doesn't mean ignoring her. It means not abandoning yourself. A man with purpose is magnetic because his energy is rooted in ambition, not desperation. When your life has meaning beyond her, she feels drawn to you without you even trying. Women can sense when a man's self-worth depends on their attention. The moment you start prioritizing her over your goals, rearranging your values to match hers, or constantly being available just to keep her interested, she starts to lose emotional attraction, not because she wants a man who is cold or distant, but because she wants a man who is whole. She doesn't want to be the center of your universe. She wants to be a beautiful addition to a life that is already fulfilling. A well-rounded man with passions, ambitions, and a sense of mission radiates a masculine energy that women instinctively respect. When she sees that you're focused on becoming the best version of yourself, she views your attention as a privilege, not a need. And that shift changes everything. When a man has purpose, he also becomes unpredictable in the best way. He has things to do, places to be, goals to chase. This creates a sense of curiosity around him. Women are naturally drawn to mystery, not emotional games, but genuine complexity. When she wonders what drives you, what inspires you, what you're building, she becomes more invested. Your presence becomes something she looks forward to, not something she gets tired of. A purpose-driven man doesn't text all day because he's busy building something meaningful. He doesn't beg for attention because he's already fulfilled internally. He doesn't chase because his path is already calling him. And that emotional independence is extremely attractive. Purpose also builds self-respect. The more you invest in your mission, the less time you have for people who drain your energy. When you have goals, dreams, and ambitions, your standards naturally rise. You start valuing loyalty, support, and emotional maturity because you don't want anything that distracts you from your path. A woman can feel this energy instantly. She realizes you're not a man she can toy with. She sees that you are someone who values his time and protects his peace. This kind of energy makes her behave differently. She becomes more intentional, more respectful, more engaged. She knows she has to match your energy, not take advantage of it. There is also a psychological truth many men don't realize. Women fall for men they admire. Admiration creates emotional attraction. When she sees your dedication to your goals, your discipline in your routine, your commitment to growth, she feels something deeper than temporary interest. She feels inspired. She sees the kind of man she could build a future with, a man who isn't stuck, who isn't passive, who isn't waiting for life to happen, a man who makes life happen. Your purpose becomes a signal of your inner strength, and strength is incredibly attractive to women. But purpose doesn't mean ignoring her or being emotionally unavailable. It means you bring balance. You give attention, but not at the cost of your dreams. You give affection, but not at the cost of your identity. You give time, but not at the cost of your mission. This balance creates a dynamic where attraction can grow naturally. She feels secure because you're consistent, but she feels excited because you're driven. She feels valued because you choose her, not because you need her to feel complete. When your life has structure, vision, and direction, she sees you as a man who stands tall in his masculine energy. Women feel the deepest attraction toward men who are aligned with a purpose because purpose creates stability. A man who knows where he's going doesn't fear losing a woman. He doesn't crumble under pressure. He doesn't panic if she pulls away. He remains grounded. This emotional stability makes her feel safe, and safety is the foundation of female desire. Your purpose becomes your anchor, your identity, your source of confidence. And when a woman sees that you don't rely on her for your sense of worth, she instinctively starts to invest more emotionally. She values your presence because it isn't desperate. She cherishes your energy because it isn't overbearing. She desires your attention because it feels earned, not forced. When you center your world around your mission, you naturally become the man she wants to chase, respect, and connect with. It's not about choosing purpose over love. It's about understanding that purpose is what makes love possible. A man who stands for something, works for something, and grows towards something becomes irresistible because he embodies strength, direction, and emotional maturity, and these qualities are the deepest psychological triggers of female attraction. Many men don't realize how powerful their energy becomes when they offer presence instead of pressure. Women are highly sensitive to emotional environments. They can instantly feel when a man is trying too hard for connection, rushing intimacy, or pushing for validation. Pressure creates resistance because it makes a woman feel unsafe, overwhelmed, or emotionally suffocated. Presence, on the other hand, creates attraction because it allows her to open up naturally at her own pace without feeling manipulated or controlled. When a woman feels free to be herself around you, her guard drops and real connection begins. This emotional freedom is one of the deepest psychological triggers for female desire. Presence means being fully engaged in the moment with her, not thinking about how to impress her, not worrying about what to say next, not mentally rehearsing responses to appear cool. It means listening with intention, maintaining calm eye contact, and responding from authenticity instead of performing. When you give her full attention without trying to win her, she feels valued in a way most men never make her feel. Women crave emotional presence because it makes them feel seen, heard, and understood, and these feelings build attraction far more than any physical or material qualities ever could. When she feels that you're genuinely there with her, she begins to trust you with parts of herself she doesn't share easily. Pressure shows up in subtle ways that many men don't recognize, constantly texting for reassurance, expecting fast replies, questioning her feelings, pushing for commitment too early, or seeking approval in every interaction all signal emotional insecurity. Insecurity makes a woman feel like she has to manage your emotions, and that drains her. She starts feeling responsible for your mood or sense of worth, which instantly kills attraction. Women don't want a man who needs emotional babysitting. They want a man whose grounding energy makes them feel lighter, not heavier. This is why giving space without fear, allowing the connection to grow naturally, and emotionally self-regulating strengthens the way she sees you. It tells her you are emotionally mature and capable of handling life without leaning on her for stability. Presence also means valuing connection instead of control. Control shows up when a man expects her to behave a certain way, respond a certain way, or mirror his feelings on his timeline. It can look like jealousy, possessiveness, or neediness disguised as affection, but women can feel when affection is genuine and when it's a mask for insecurity. A woman feels safe when a man allows her to express her emotions without trying to fix them, allows her to have her independence without feeling threatened, and allows her to have her boundaries without taking it personally. The more freedom she feels in your presence, the more emotionally connected she becomes, and the more connected she becomes, the more she desires you. True masculine presence has a calmness to it. A man who is comfortable with silence, who remains composed during emotional conversations, who doesn't react impulsively, and who doesn't panic when things aren't perfect, creates an environment where a woman feels emotionally protected. This calm presence is extremely attractive because it reflects inner confidence. A woman values a man who can stay grounded even when she is emotional or stressed. She doesn't want someone who shuts down, gets defensive, or becomes overwhelmed. She wants someone who can hold emotional space without collapsing under pressure. This ability to remain steady creates trust, and trust deep attraction. Presence also means being emotionally available, not emotionally weak, but open enough to communicate honestly, express your feelings clearly, and share your thoughts without hiding behind emotional walls. Women don't want a man who plays games or acts distant to seem masculine. They want a man who is secure enough to be authentic. When a woman senses that you're real with her, not pretending or performing, she feels drawn to you because authenticity gives her permission to be real too. And emotional authenticity is one of the strongest bonding mechanisms in female psychology. When a man combines presence with emotional independence, he becomes incredibly desirable. You're there, but not needy. You care, but you don't cling. You give attention, but you don't overwhelm. You allow connection, but you don't force it. This balance creates an emotional rhythm that women naturally sync with. They feel safe to open up, safe to trust, safe to invest emotionally. Presence makes her feel valued, connection makes her feel understood, and freedom makes her feel respected. And when a woman feels safe, understood, and respected all at once, she begins to desire the man who gives her that emotional experience. A man who offers presence over pressure becomes unforgettable because he provides something rare in today's world: emotional security without emotional demand. He becomes the man she can relax around, the man she thinks about when he isn't there, and the man she wants not because he chased her, but because his energy made choosing him feel effortless. Most men spend their energy trying to impress a woman with things that fade quickly: looks, money, charm, or status. But what actually creates long-term attraction in a woman is something far deeper and far more stable: masculine consistency and emotional maturity. A woman may notice a handsome face or a nice lifestyle, but what makes her stay, trust, and emotionally bond with a man is his ability to show up the same way every day. Masculine consistency is not about perfection. It's about stability. It's about doing what you say you'll do, keeping your energy steady, and being reliable in a world full of mixed signals and emotional unpredictability. When a woman feels that a man is consistent in how he communicates, how he treats her, how he expresses interest, and how he handles life, she relaxes into the connection. This relaxation is what allows attraction to grow naturally. Emotional maturity is equally powerful. It means you don't react impulsively to stress. You don't explode. You don't play games when you're hurt, and you don't withdraw to punish her. Emotionally mature men communicate instead of attacking, understand instead of accusing, and reflect instead of reacting. A woman feels deeply safe with a man who can regulate his emotions instead of letting them control him. When you can stay grounded even when the situation is tense, she sees strength. When you can express your feelings calmly instead of bottling them up or dumping them on her, she sees emotional intelligence. This emotional maturity makes her trust you with her heart because she knows you won't weaponize her vulnerability or crumble under pressure. Consistency also builds respect. A woman respects a man whose words match his actions. If you promise something and follow through, she begins to trust your leadership. If you show genuine interest one day and disappear the next, she sees you as unreliable. Women are highly intuitive. They read patterns faster than men realize. When she sees consistency, she sees safety. When she sees inconsistency, she sees chaos. And no matter how physically attractive you are, emotional chaos kills desire. A steady, grounded man is far more attractive than a man who is impressive one day and unstable the next. Stability means she doesn't have to guess your intentions or decode mixed messages. She can simply be herself around you. And this emotional ease creates chemistry that cannot be faked. Emotional maturity also means knowing how to disagree without disrespecting her. Conflict doesn't destroy relationships. Emotional immaturity does. A woman feels closer to a man who can talk through disagreements calmly, listen to understand rather than to win, and stay emotionally present even when the conversation is difficult. When you handle conflict with maturity, she sees you as a partner, not a problem. She feels that you are someone she can communicate with, not someone she has to walk on eggshells around. This emotional safety is essential for attraction because women cannot desire a man they fear emotionally. They desire the man they feel safe opening up to. Consistency is attractive because it represents discipline. A man who is consistent in his life, whether in his goals, behavior, or communication, shows that he has self-control. Women find this deeply appealing because it signals reliability. A man who is disciplined in his habits, work, and mindset is more likely to be disciplined in his relationships. She doesn't want someone whose emotions flip daily, whose attention shifts easily, or whose interest fades when things aren't exciting. She wants a man whose presence is steady enough to build something meaningful with. A man who is a storm one day and sunshine the next may be exciting, but he is also exhausting. A man who remains steady becomes irresistible. Emotional maturity also shows in how you handle her emotions. Women experience emotions more intensely and more frequently, and they want a man who doesn't judge them for it. When she is upset, frustrated, or overwhelmed, she wants your calm, not your criticism. She wants your patience, not your panic. She wants your reassurance, not your rejection. When a man can hold space for her emotions without taking them personally, using them against her, she begins to see him as someone she can trust with the deeper parts of her heart. This trust creates emotional intimacy. And emotional intimacy is the root of long-term attraction. A woman also feels more attracted to a man who doesn't lose himself in the relationship. Emotional maturity means you can love deeply without becoming dependent, give affection without losing boundaries, and stay connected without losing your individuality. Women admire men who maintain their identity, purpose, and emotional balance even while being in love. When you stay grounded in who you are, you create a dynamic where she feels inspired to match your maturity rather than compensate for your lack of it. The combination of masculine consistency and emotional maturity builds a type of attraction that feels safe, strong, and lasting. It creates a sense that you are a man she can rely on, grow with, and emotionally invest in. Physical attraction might spark interest, but it is your stability, maturity, and emotional strength that make a woman want a future with you, not just a moment. A woman's deepest attraction is often triggered by a paradox. She wants to feel chosen, valued, and prioritized, but she does not want to feel owned, controlled, or trapped. Understanding this subtle but powerful dynamic is at the core of female psychology. Women instinctively crave security, connection, and recognition, yet they are highly attuned to energy that signals desperation, neediness, or control. When a man provides attention, care, and emotional investment without overstepping boundaries or demanding loyalty, she feels a sense of freedom and safety that makes her desire him more. The man who can navigate this balance becomes rare, magnetic, and unforgettable in her mind. It is not about giving her everything she wants or agreeing with everything she says. It is about giving her the emotional experience of being valued while maintaining your own sense of self. A woman feels deeply attached when she senses that her presence in a man's life is a conscious choice rather than a default expectation. When you actively choose to prioritize her, make her feel important, and express appreciation for her presence, she perceives it as genuine, intentional, and unique. This act of choosing her signals emotional strength because it demonstrates that you are not dependent on her for your happiness, but that you value her for who she is. Emotional attachment grows when she senses that your energy is deliberate, that you are not just reacting to circumstances, and that she matters in a way that is meaningful. Women are highly intuitive, and they can sense when a man's interest is a product of habit versus a product of conscious choice. At the same time, a woman's attachment strengthens when she senses that her individuality is respected. No one wants to feel confined, restricted, or overly controlled in a relationship. When a man respects her boundaries, encourages her autonomy, and allows her the space to live her own life, she subconsciously feels safer, more relaxed, and more drawn to him. Freedom and attachment are not opposites. They are interdependent. The more she feels free to be herself, the more she can invest emotionally without fear, and the more her desire naturally grows. This is why controlling behavior, jealousy, and possessiveness are so destructive. They create tension, resistance, and distrust, whereas valuing her independence fosters a sense of voluntary commitment and emotional intimacy. The balance between being chosen and not being owned requires emotional intelligence. It requires understanding when to give attention and when to step back. It requires clarity about your own needs and boundaries while remaining empathetic toward hers. When a man masters this balance, he creates a dynamic where she feels both secure and intrigued. She is drawn to him because he is consistent, trustworthy, and emotionally mature, yet she also respects that he has a life, priorities, and standards of his own. This combination makes him magnetic because he is neither desperate nor distant, neither passive nor controlling. He is steady, grounded, and intentional in a way that women instinctively recognize as rare and valuable. Attachment also grows through subtle cues of appreciation and recognition. Women are highly sensitive to acknowledgement, validation, and affirmation when it is authentic. When a man notices the small things, her effort, her humor, her intelligence, her unique traits without exaggerating or overdoing it, she feels seen in a meaningful way. This sense of being recognized fosters emotional intimacy, which fuels attraction. Women do not need grand gestures. They respond to consistent, genuine acknowledgement that communicates care, attention, and respect. When she feels consistently chosen, valued, and appreciated, her emotional investment deepens naturally over time. A woman's desire is further enhanced when she senses that a man is emotionally independent yet emotionally available. Emotional independence signals that he is whole on his own and does not rely on her to feel complete. Emotional availability signals that he is capable of connection, empathy, and intimacy. When these two qualities coexist, she feels safe to express herself fully without fear of losing him or being rejected. She feels valued not because he needs her, but because he chooses her, and this distinction creates a magnetic pull that strengthens emotional attachment. Women are biologically and psychologically drawn to men who can balance strength and vulnerability, autonomy and closeness, presence and freedom. The man who embodies this dynamic also communicates consistency. She sees that he can maintain his energy, values, and emotional stability over time, regardless of external circumstances. She begins to trust not only his actions, but his intentions, and this trust is the foundation of desire. A woman wants the confidence that her emotional investment will be met with respect, that her feelings will be honored, and that she is being chosen because he genuinely wants her in his life. This combination of choice and freedom produces a deep psychological effect. She feels drawn, secure, and emotionally committed all at the same time. When a man achieves this balance, choosing her consciously, valuing her without controlling her, and creating a sense of freedom while maintaining consistent presence, he taps into one of the most powerful female psychological triggers of desire. Attachment is no longer forced or conditional. It becomes organic, voluntary, and sustainable. She begins to invest emotionally in a way that feels natural, motivated by the experience of feeling both cherished and free. This emotional chemistry cannot be manufactured through superficial means. It emerges from the subtle interplay of intention, respect, boundaries, and emotional intelligence, making the man who masters it incredibly attractive, irresistible,